Ever since Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna tragically passed away in a plane accident in 2020, his legacy has been immortalized within NBA fans and non-NBA fans alike. And he's one of the most recognizable, if not the most recognizable basketball player of all time. But today, I want to revisit his legacy and revisit his career in a way that will honor his legacy while being honest about his career. If you look at Kobe's accolades, he's one of the greatest and most accomplished players of all time. He's a 15-time All-NBA member, a 5-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 1-time NBA MVP, which that could have been a lot more as he finished runner-up or in the top 5 multiple times throughout his career, and was one of the best defenders of his era with 12 all-defensive mentions. And Kobe Bryant, as a scorer, was absolutely elite and, in my opinion, was the greatest scorer in NBA history. For back-to-back seasons in 2005-2006 and then 2006-2007, he averaged 35.4 points and then 31.6 points respectively. And he averaged 35 points a game in an era where the average scoring for the entire league per game was in the 90s. So he was scoring over a third of his team's point every single game. And it's difficult to even comprehend how good he was and how much he was scoring. And in that one season where he averaged 35.5 points a game, he shot 45% from the field, which is a bit below league average, but is still an incredibly high percentage for someone who is shooting at the volume that he was. And Kobe was known as a very inefficient player who took a lot of shots, but throughout his career, he was a 45% shooter from the field and a 33% shooter from the three-point line, which he played in an era where three-point shooting was not as focused upon as it is obviously today. So Kobe deserves a lot more recognition as a scorer, and if you look at his per game averages throughout his career, he is easily one of the greatest scorers of all time, as he averaged 25 points a game throughout his entire career, and obviously that was brought down by his early seasons where he wasn't playing much, and throughout his final few seasons where obviously he was getting older and hampered by injuries. But Kobe is easily the greatest scorer in NBA history, as he's a 3-level scorer who scored and thrived in a very defensive era where physical defense was still allowed to be played, and teams were scoring in the range of the mid-90s to low hundreds in points per game. And like I said, he averaged 35 points per game throughout an entire season on good efficiencies. And the craziest part is that he didn't even win MVP that year. Kobe Bryant revolutionized the game of basketball, and I know this doesn't actually translate to his on-court skill, but in terms of his legacy and how much he was revered in the basketball space, people and kids still yell Kobe when they shoot a piece of paper into a garbage can or a piece of trash into a garbage can. And the fact that Kobe retired in 2016 and is still one of the most talked about players in the entire NBA just proves that his legacy goes beyond basketball. And if you look at his actual basketball game, he's a 5-time NBA champion. And people always say that Shaq carried him to 4 of those rings. But if you really look at it, Kobe was at the very worst a 1B on that team. And if you look at Shaq and Kobe as a duo, Shaq and Kobe needed each other during those 3 championships that they won together. They three-peated, but Shaq wouldn't have won 3 championships in a row without Kobe, and Kobe wouldn't have won 3 championships in a row without Shaq. They needed each other, and they were the perfect complement for each other as a guard who drew attention to himself at the perimeter and allowed Shaq to dominate in the paint, and Shaq also brought attention to the paint when he had the ball and allowed Kobe to go one-on-one on the outside and do what he does best in getting open. So you cannot say that Kobe got carried or that Shaq got carried. And in all reality, it doesn't really matter who was the official number 1 on that team, because it really did alternate from game to game. And they'll be the first to admit that they did have beef back then. Both of them wanted to be the number one option, and Kobe was hard on Shaq because Shaq's work ethic didn't necessarily match up with Kobe's. But at the end of the day, those two needed each other more than they realized in the moment. And at the time that Kobe passed, they had an immense amount of respect for each other. And I really do think that Kobe is a top 4 player of all time, only behind MJ, LeBron, and Kareem. And in the comment section below, let me know what you think that he ranks in the all-time list and ranking in terms of NBA players. But if you look at Kobe Bean Bryant, his legacy will be immortalized forever. And you cannot deny the impact that he had on basketball as a whole. And we really have to look back at him with a lot of respect and gratitude for what he did for our game. Let me know where you think that Kobe ranks all time in the comment section below. And God bless you all. I hope you have an amazing day. Make sure to subscribe to the channel because I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. God bless.